Hi everyone, and welcome to Style Week. So this week of my No Buy Year, I wanted to talk about style in the era of influence. To start off with, I hope I was able to capture shots of my full outfit today. It might have been in the mirror. Hopefully I can make that work. Maybe I can pop those up here while I'm talking. But I wanted to go through what I'm wearing today, since it is mostly the oldest items in my closet. First of all, I'll talk about why I have them and why they've stuck around. And then I want to get into the introduction for this coming week of videos of the general concepts that I'm going to be covering, and maybe how I am using my new ideas about style to have more fun with my clothes. So first of all, I am going to be updating my outfits over this week's videos in kind of chronological order. So I've started out with a no makeup glasses look, kind of harking back to my childhood and early teen years where I just wore glasses. And I started wearing glasses at the age of 8, actually, in 3rd grade. I remember I got in trouble for copying my friend's notes because I couldn't read off of the overhead projection on the screen. The teacher didn't like that I was copying off of my friend's paper, and I was too scared to tell her that I just couldn't see the words. I thought there was something wrong with me. And there was something wrong with me. I needed glasses. So in 3rd grade, I got a nice pair of wire-framed rose gold, oval, really nerdy glasses. So that explains the face look and the glasses. I can't promise I'm going to update makeup for every video in this series, but we'll see. The jacket might be the oldest item in my wardrobe. It's affectionately named Javier. It is a leather jacket that I purchased off of ASOS, I believe, while I lived in New Zealand. And it's got some signs of wear. It's got some bits of peeling, some little paint stains that I don't even know how they got there. But I love this jacket. I have softened it through the process of wear, and I think the Javier thing came from an auto-corrected text to my best friend at the time where I was talking about a jacket and my phone typed in Javier. So this is Javier. While I'm not sure that edgy is one of my primary style words, I do love the unexpected little bit of edge that this jacket brings to any outfit that I pair it with. For those of you who have seen some of my videos where I've talked about the faux leather pants, I have a love-hate relationship with faux leather, but I've decided to hang on to those pants if only to prevent myself from buying them again. Because I love the idea, like I said, of the little bit of edge that wearing leather or faux leather brings to my otherwise less edgy looks. So there's the update on the pants. You might be seeing those in the future. Maybe I'll go through that whole same process of finding out that they're not comfortable again, but slow decluttering is the name of this year, the name of the game. So next I have, this is the longest outfit introduction ever, sorry. Next I have a top from H&M. And I've had this also while I lived in New Zealand. And I think it was one of my early kind of professional shirts that I would wear teaching. It's held up very, very well. I think it's actually 100% cotton, so not a polyester shirt, which is fantastic. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's got little pleating on the front. It's sleeveless. There's no collar. The button does sometimes cause problems when I'm playing my viola, but I just tuck it under like this, and then the button does not rattle on my instrument. Same with the necklace. Sometimes I have problems with that too, and I have to take it off for serious performing occasions or auditions. So yeah, a very inexpensive but long-lasting top. The pants are skinny jeans. And like a well-balanced diet, I think a healthy wardrobe can include skinny jeans or any silhouette of jeans that you like, even if they're not currently trendy or make one look dated. I don't think we have to care about that. I also have kept these through the years. I thrifted these ones. These are Levi's, and I got them, I think, for $5 at a thrift store in Texas. And I've kept these partly as well because my husband really likes them. So he's a fan of outfits like this. And then the shoes are the cowboy boots that my husband got me while we were dating in 2018, I want to say. And so they will never be decluttered. They've got a sentimental value to me. And I do like the style as well. So I got them, and I feel like in the next couple of years after I got them, they became trendy, which I could not have foreseen. When I got them as a gift, I thought they were this kind of country niche Texan slash Nebraskan style. When I was in high school, actually, in South Dakota, all the Nebraskans would wear cowboy boots. And it's so funny that I've ended up in Nebraska with my Texan cowboy boots. And now I fit in with both the local style and the trendy style of the time. Since they've been in and out of fashion, more people have them now, which is good, in my opinion, if they genuinely love and wear them, obviously. It's not good if people are just buying them to trend and then decluttering them. Okay, I think that's everything that I'm wearing today, and it's time to get into the introduction for style in the era of influence. The conversations that follow might be based on some assumption that you do care a little bit about your clothes and what you wear. So if you don't, you might receive these videos differently, or they may or may not even be useful. I acknowledge that, and with that disclaimer, I will go on. What I've discovered so far in this no-buy year is that the most important thing in improving my own style has probably been to stop shopping for an extended period of time. What I've been feeling lately is that over the past few years, I've received too much inspiration through the content that I've been watching online. Too much advice, too many different examples of what people value or what people think makes a good outfit, what systems people use to create flattering looks, or if they even prioritize being flattering at all, the color systems, the body types. And the other thing in this day and age, this era of influence, is that oftentimes this exploration and this showcasing, this advice, these tips, has some ulterior motive of selling. Now, I'm not trying to say that fashion influencers are making content in order to sell, but they often do choose items that are currently available so that they can be shopped if their advice hits home for their viewers. There's nothing wrong with this in principle. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them sharing their ideas about style and providing examples that happen to be available for purchase. However, my relationship with that kind of content was not constructive in the past. Even in those examples where creators were featuring one certain brand, and it should have been more obvious to me that I wouldn't necessarily find anything useful for my style in videos like that, I would often be tempted to go browse that brand and look for something so that I could try it out too. So I guess the crux of what I'm trying to say is that when I was consuming the most style content, I was also buying the most clothing pieces, and inevitably there would be more mistakes the more that I bought. And I think that's true even if you're not consuming content. The more you buy, the more likely it is, statistically, to have some mistakes in there. The other thing that I've learned during this no-buy year, in a general sense, is that nothing is a substitute for doing your own reflective work. And I'm not even speaking about clothes specifically here, but no matter how much advice and tips and examples of the life I want to live that I see, nothing is going to get me to that point short of doing the reflection and the thinking and the processing for myself. Now, to take this and apply it to clothes, what I mean by that is that nothing is going to replicate the experience of seeing myself in different clothing. If a stylist recommends something, even if they're using body type principles or style inspirational aesthetic principles, they can say, hey, if you are tall and have the deep winter coloring, which might be things that apply to me, then you should wear these things, you should try this out. And they might even show examples on screen. None of that is a substitute for me putting on clothes, looking in the mirror, evaluating how I feel. I would even extend it to some degree to looking at myself on camera wearing clothes from the third person perspective, which I'd never really done until this year with my early spring capsule wardrobe attempts and sharing some of my outfits there. I'm not a big photos person. I'm not somebody with an Instagram or social media presence other than this. I'm not great at aesthetics, to be honest. I do not have an aesthetically trendy anything, to be honest. My house, my clothes, my makeup, it's all kind of a hodgepodge of various different things. So I've never viewed myself as a stylist or as an inherently stylish person, and nor do I necessarily want to. But what I do want is to have a stronger concept of my personal style and to feel like I'm communicating what's true to me through the choices I make about what I wear. So far, my biggest take-homes this year about style in this era of influence is to take a break from shopping for a while if you've been feeling a little lost in your personal style, and then to explore yourself in different outfits, in different aesthetic styles or trends or whatever it may be, and do some reflection on what makes you feel good and represented the way you want to be. Now that I've mentioned trends, I have been starting to feel more and more that trends are primarily a way to cycle products through the economy to the consumers, to pique people's interests in browsing new things and wanting new things. Even the general aesthetic trends that have come and gone, or have come and now have a presence, in the past, they really made me want to buy the stuff for the trend. A lot of the things that I will be wearing later in this series of videos are extremely trend focused or trend motivated as far as why I bought them. Today's outfit is the least trend motivated because I had all of these pieces before I got really sucked into the black hole of influencer consuming, and before I was buying so much in general, before I had the money. And it comes back once again to the fact that we have to examine our own identity before trying to adopt the identity of an aesthetic, or to pair ourselves with that identity or the connotations that many aesthetics do have these days. And then, heaven forbid, if we want to try out different aesthetics, and then we need to buy a whole new set of clothing and accessories to explore that for ourselves. And what we see on social media has kind of normalized this, where it's not seen as abnormal anymore to go out and buy large quantities of clothing to explore new aesthetics, new styles. We see these hauls, we see these try-ons, we see these ways to achieve a different look, a specific, how to look cottagecore, how to look clean girl, how to look eclectic grandpa, or whatever the next coastal grandma is. There's all these formulas that involve a lot of stuff, and we don't see the quantities of stuff. I didn't see the quantities of stuff as abnormal after consuming so much content online that showed all of this quantity of stuff. And I'm not even really speaking about the concerns of fast fashion in general and all the problems that that's introduced to society as the production has ramped up and therefore the consumption has also ramped up through natural, or what I would say are more artificial means, where influencers are doing the Shein hauls and then people watching them have their senses opened to the fact that these exist. I guess fast fashion has become an option in a way that it wasn't as much when I was young. That's just what it feels like to me. It's almost like fast fashion has become another parallel to fast food, where it's become a quick, convenient, and easy way to get clothing, even if we know it's not healthy. And again, not to say that it's bad in principle, and it's not bad to eat fast food once in a while. It's all just about moderating and trying to line up with our values. There's also nothing wrong with being a person who never eats fast food or never consumes fast fashion. It's just about picking where on the spectrum we want to be as an individual. But I guess now that fast fashion has entered the chat, I think there's a lot of danger in associating our personal identity, our style identity, our values with brands, fast fashion versus sustainable, and just the projections of ideas that come with how we buy clothing and how we express our style through wearing it. The trap that we might fall into is that by buying more sustainable, we might feel like better people. We might feel like more conscious consumers when we curate our stuff in a more intentional way and take more responsibility to make sure that the stuff is produced ethically, which on the surface is a very good thing, and it does represent more conscious consuming than not doing so. However, the most sustainable way to shop is to not shop if we don't need anything. Using our clothes for a long time, the longest time possible, and purchasing our clothes with that idea in mind is the most conscious and sustainable way forward. And perhaps trying to avoid the cycle of decluttering and rebuying, perhaps trying to avoid the style evolutions that happen naturally, but I would argue in today's era of influence may be happening more quicker and during times when we don't necessarily need to be evolving. That might be a hot take. There are obvious circumstances of life when a style evolution might be necessary, such as changing sizes, changing jobs, changing locations. If you've gained or lost weight and your clothes don't fit, you've moved somewhere with a different climate, or your job has a different dress code. But once we've become more settled in our lives and our clothing needs, the idea of a style evolution serves a different purpose. It's less practical and more ephemeral. And perhaps we can learn to enjoy a slower evolution, bringing in things one at a time and observing the trickle-down effect of what this does for our wardrobe and our feelings and our lives. And I do have a story about that later, probably towards the end of this week when I'm going to be wearing my most recently purchased clothing and how I feel about the purchases I made even this year during my no-buy. Finally, the other thing that I think trends and aesthetics have done is normalized this constant level of low-level shopping, of kind of having our senses always turned on to what's new, what's the latest, what are people wearing and sharing these days. And I want to step out of the waves of low-level shopping. I was at the waves of crashing high-level shopping in the past few years. So when I step back into the pond or the river or whatever this is, the ocean, I want to be in the lower level current, but I don't want to always be looking for the next thing. I don't always want to be in that state of being willing to buy. I want to be able to approach recreational shopping in a totally different way. And actually my ultimate goal for my wardrobe is to end up with fewer clothes and better style. But I think I'll be exploring those ideas more in the videos to come. So I will wrap this one up here today. Hopefully I've introduced the overall concepts that I will be covering. It's time to change into the next outfit. I will see you very soon in the next one for a deeper conversation on the idea that we cannot buy our identity. Bye for now.